Welcome to part 3 of this week's vidcasts. Here we will discuss ways to use graphic novels and manga with your young adults. Take a minute to read through these scenarios. These are some of the different ways that graphic novels and manga can be used in school or public libraries. Among the articles available to you this week is an article on graphic novel and manga anime programming. It was written by Robin Brenner, who is an outstanding public librarian in Massachusetts. Robin is well known in the graphic novel field. Read through the quote from her article. I think that it's an important one for us to remember as the librarians of teenagers. As you can see on the screen, graphic novels represent many different curriculum areas. I'll be talking more specifically about some titles representing these curriculum areas as I move through the vidcast. Common Core is bringing a lot of attention to the fact that graphic novels can be a viable resource for schools. Publishers are taking note and publishing more graphic nonfiction in these curriculum areas. Graphic novels are suitable for all skill levels through differentiated instruction. These can introduce new content and vocabulary. When you examine graphic novels, note that many of them have glossaries in the back to identify some of the new vocabulary terms for students. It's a great format for introducing kids to challenging concepts. There are several ways you can use graphic novels to teach literary devices and to help young adults develop vocabulary and writing skills. As you can see on the screen, there are numerous books that tell you specifically how to incorporate graphic novels in English language arts. These provides lesson plans for you. Maureen Bacchus has written an excellent book. Dr. Gavigan also co-wrote a book in 2011 about connecting comics to the curriculum, and it provides a whole chapter on English language instruction and English language arts. Katie Monin has written several books, and some that have come out since this one on the screen. I hope you'll access these books, and if you're in schools, share them with your classroom teachers. On your screen, you will see a select list of biographies. Anne Frank you're aware of because it's on your list. Jim Ottaviani is a favorite of mine. Much of his work is in the science field. His latest one is Primates. You can see he's written an autobiography about Feynman, and he has also authored several collective biographies. Dignifying Science is about female scientists. You can also see Houdini. Graphic novel biographies on everything from magicians to Amelia Earhart and other well-known historical figures are very popular. One way to effectively use graphic novels with students in the classroom is by incorporating classic adaptations. The image on the right is Gareth Hines' Beowulf. I read an article about a classroom teacher who had been teaching Beowulf for years and learned about the illustrated edition, the graphic novel edition. She asked her principal if he would buy her copies, but he said it didn't have enough money, so she decided to do it herself. She went out and bought the copies and took them to the classroom. She described how transformative it was for students and how they were much more engaged. They understood the plot better and were really interested in that edition as opposed to the traditional text. Again, I'm not saying throw out the classics, the full text versions, but graphic novels can be an effective way to engage and scaffold students, whether AP students or students who might have limited reading skills, but still want to know what Romeo and Juliet's about. In fact, I heard of another teacher who uses the manga Shakespeare version you see on the left-hand corner with her students, and she's found it to be very effective. So you can see whether it's The Little Prince or Sherlock Holmes short stories, there are many canon and literature now available in graphic novel formats. Notice the Fahrenheit 451. Before Ray Bradbury died, he authorized this version of the great classic. To Dance is an autobiographical account of a young woman who wanted to have a career as a ballerina, but had an accident, and so her dreams didn't come to fruition. Isadora Duncan, I would recommend for upper high school students. Isadora Duncan, if you know anything about her, lived a very flamboyant and, let's say, loose life. The drawings in it are just great and very illustrative of her career. Return of the Dapper Men is based on Alice in Wonderland. Beautiful illustrations. In the back, the author asked other illustrators to render their versions, their interpretations of the story, and so it would be great to use in an art class. Even math can be portrayed through graphic novels. In fact, the book on your left, The Cartoon Guide to Statistics, has helped many a grad student survive this difficult course. Then there's the Manga Guide series that's available on the 3 math topics you see to the right. That series is also available for physics and molecular biology. The Arrival is about immigration. It's a wordless picture book that's won plenty of awards. It could be great as a writing prompt or to use in political science to kickstart discussions on immigration issues. Code Word Geronimo is actually about the Bin Laden raid, and the kids would really enjoy learning about that through this format. I've tried to showcase the breadth and variety of books in this area. Laika is the true story of the Russian cosmonauts in the early years, sending up dogs and using them to test space shuttles and rockets. T-Minus discusses the U.S. effort to beat the Russians during the era of Sputnik. The Stuff of Life is about DNA. Then the ones at the bottom to the right are the Max Axiom stories. These are incredibly popular and also available online. Max Axiom is a regular African American scientist who survives an explosion in a lab and becomes a superhero. He uses his powers to teach on all of these different scientific topics. Many of the books will have front and back matter, glossaries, bibliographies, webliographies, and support resources to offer to the students when they finish reading and want to learn more about that particular topic. One of my favorite areas for graphic novels is social issues because I think you can reach teens in so many ways with some of these titles. I've already mentioned Yummy. Inside Out came out about after the author was, who suffered from an eating disorder, encouraged by her psychiatrist. The doctor knows she kept doodling during their therapy sessions. Heart Transplant is about bullying. Amelia Rules, The Meaning of Life and Other Stuff deals with divorce. You can see that there's one about the author's mother having cancer. Jean Yang's Level Up is the story of parents who do not want their child to be involved in computer gaming. All of these address issues that can touch teens' lives in different ways. This slide may look a little cluttered, but I wanted you to see the amazing variety of books on the topic of social studies. The 911 report is the actual entire 9/11 Commission report in illustrated form. You can see a variety of topics on the Civil War. You can see civil rights, African American cowboy and best shot in the West, Persepolis, and a graphic novel version of The Kite Runner, and both of those are set in the Middle East. In sports, there are a variety of titles. The story of Robert Clemente and Satchel Paige both deal with civil rights issues through the perspective of sports. Shaquille O'Neal is part of the NBA Star Series. It has a centerfold of Shaquille's foot size, his actual tennis shoe, a size 22. It's fun to show that visual aid to students. Then on the right, manga titles. Even manga deals with the sports world. The Lightning Thief by Rick Jordan and the Olympian series by George O'Connor have considerably advanced mythology for middle schoolers. You'll notice the Greek mythology series books on the right of your screen. Trickster at the top is a Native American collection. Some of you may have heard of Joseph Burkock. He's a Native American who has published several great works. He actually told a story and then an illustrator illustrated it. The book is filled with not just his stories, but other Native Americans telling their tales, complemented with illustrations. I mentioned using wordless graphic novels for writing prompts. A very popular one is Robot Dreams, as well as Corgi. There is also The Age of Reptiles. A lot of the dinosaur books contain stories that are told wordlessly. You can take these books and open them up at any point you want, use a document camera, and have students start writing. Or you can have them create their own wordless book if you give them a topic to illustrate. Warcraft on the bottom left of your screen is by Kaplan, and if that name's familiar, it's because they publish SAT, MedCat, and LSAT Prep. This Warcraft book has SAT words pulled out from the text on its sidebars, so it's a great SAT study guide. You can also order interactive ebooks. Capstone has a collection of the interactive graphic novel ebooks. Their Max Axiom Science series that I discussed earlier is available in this format. Digital graphic novels are really growing in popularity. Some people call them webcomics or long play comics. They can be interactive, as I mentioned in the previous slide. Take a minute to review this slide. What do you think? This week, you'll read an article by Robin Mueller from Appalachian State University in Knowledge Quest. She talks about the naysayers, the people who push back on graphic novels. So I hope this module's vidcast will help you become a yay-sayer instead of a naysayer, and that you will advocate for using graphic novels in your schools and libraries.